Hello, everybody, and welcome back into another episode of The Cycle. I'm your host, Mike Mayer. I am joined once again by Kelly Kirby. You haven't seen us in a few weeks, but we're back. The season is over. The MLB playoffs are happening. And naturally, we're going to start looking ahead to next season and turn the page. And we figure we're going to do that with a way too early 2026 mock draft. We're going to do 3 rounds, draft 3 rounds for 12 different teams. Kelly and I will alternate. And throughout that, we'll kind of sprinkle in some analysis, some maybe big wins that we had, some major L's that we had, some bold predictions that went poorly. We won't talk about Mike Trout. That's not allowed. We're not going to discuss that on this show. No one predicted anything for him this season. And with that, Kelly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. The Cubs finally benefited from the worst strike 3 call I can remember in recent memory. And now they get to go face the Brewers. So aside from not being able to talk to our colleague Fitz for the next week or whatever, I'm doing pretty well. So
give the Brewers something. They're not very good often, so they'll have one.
Yeah.
Speaking of, if you want some, go ahead.
I don't dislike the Brewers. I always just want to put that out there where I'm like, that's not a rivalry that I've ever really thought about. It's always been the Cardinals. So I'm okay. But, for the next week, I'll hate the Brewers.
Yeah. Not to give any free advertisement, but Bud Selig's book is actually pretty good. And there's a lot of Brewer stuff in there. Pump up my former employer because they published that book. But it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. A lot of Brewers, fun Brewer stuff in there.
Cool.
So you want to jump right in? Actually,
sure.
Before we jump right in, let's pull it right back. Since we talked about the playoffs, what's your World Series prediction?
Ooh, I think I so want it to be the Mariners out of the AL. Like, I just desperately want it to be them. Even though I would be okay with Toronto too, I guess. But so I guess I'm gonna go Mariners with their pitching, and I'm gonna go Phillies out of the NL, but I could also see the Dodgers, just working their way back, like that machine that they did build, that like all of a sudden showing up and just kind of marching through the playoffs. I'm like, right, this is when they arrive and steamroll everyone. So
yeah, it was like before the season, we were like, why are we even playing the season? This team's gonna win 150 games and like cruise to the World Series. And then throughout the season was like, are they gonna win the division? Are they gonna make the playoffs? And then now it looks like they just, they're just locked in. They were just kind of on cruise control for the regular season.
Exactly. So who are you predicting?
I was thinking about that this morning because obviously I'm a Red Sox fan. This is the day after their death. So RIP 2025 Red Sox. I didn't think they had a shot anyway. Like, they probably didn't even belong in the playoffs with the roster that they had, but they made it work. I mostly just really don't want it to be the Yankees. My 2 favorite holidays of the year every year are when the Yankees are eliminated and when the Cowboys are eliminated. The Cowboys usually don't make me wait very long. Sometimes the Yankees do. And so I was trying to think, I was like, it's such a weird like season. Like we talked or at least I talked all year about the Tigers, and I was like looking at the Tigers and I was like, I just don't understand how this team is good. Like, and then they almost fully collapsed at the end of the season. And I was like, finally, this is happening. This is what I've been waiting for months. But they have Skubal, so they can kind of like pretty much shrink a series. The Guardians are just scrappy. I kind of was thinking they would take down the Tigers, but they didn't. And then, like the Blue Jays have the firepower. The Mariners have the pitching. The Yankees they don't have the best roster, but they also just kind of have like that postseason magic and also that like joke of a ballpark that they play in.
And they also have the most experience at this point of that group. So I think, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And the one thing that like I always criticize Brian Cashman because he has like one strategy. It's like get lefty hitters and get lefty pitchers to set up for success like in that ballpark. So once you get into a shortened postseason series, like that actually helps to have, like you saw Ben Rice hit a 97-foot home run the other day. I'm predicting Mariners and then Brewers. I just think it could be like one of those magical runs for the Brewers, and like we saw earlier in the season, like they just got hot out of nowhere and were unstoppable. And sometimes that turns back on in the playoffs. So I could see, I feel like it's probably going to be the Dodgers or the Phillies, but I don't know. I just could see the magic of the Brewers and Mariners, which would be a fun series because if you read the book, the Brewers got their colors from the Mariners because they just like took that franchise when it like folded. The bus was like on its way to Seattle and like rerouted to Milwaukee, and we're like, we're the Brewers now. We're no longer the Seattle Pilots. So that would be a fun throwback series that not a lot of people know about the history there.
Nice.
But we are here to talk about 2026 fantasy baseball because everyone's ready for that in October, right?
Obviously.
So you and I were talking a little bit before the show. This is going to be a really interesting kind of off season to see what changes in baseball. And that's going to lead into what is probably going to be a really interesting like fantasy baseball draft season, because even trying to like, researching and preparing for this show, it's kind of hard to predict like how the first round or the first 3 rounds are going to go. Because it's like, I could see this guy maybe sneaking into the, back end of the first round, early second round, or I could see him not going in the first 3 rounds, depending on how things go. I feel like there's a few different players like that, and there aren't a ton of like lock of all locks. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll see, where we differ. You and I are going to alternate, and we can just jump right into it. I'll let you go first, and you can take it away with Team 1, and we'll probably put up a graphic on the screen. I'm not in control of that, but we probably will. I'll share the graphic with the producer and see how it goes. But we'll have a draft board, and so you can go with Team 1, and I'll recap as we go. And you're on the clock. 1 second.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you gave me the first round pick because or the first pick overall is going to be Shohei for me, like until the end of time. So yeah, that's easy, especially if he's pitching. But even if he's not, I don't much care. So I'm going to take Ohtani.
Yeah, the pitching thing is interesting for me because and we talked about this a little bit this season, if it's a weekly league, pitching doesn't even matter to me because I'm never going to put him in that pitcher slot. Like maybe if it's a 2-start week, but even then, probably not. If it's a daily league, maybe I'll take the day and swap him from my, my utility spot over to starting pitcher for the day. But for the most part, I just want that bat in the lineup. I want those home runs, those steals, those RBIs, those runs, all of the things. So yeah. It's always tricky to lock up your utility spot like that, like right off the bat. But also, there are worse problems to have than like the best player in the universe in your locked in your utility. Like you'll figure it out.
Right, for sure.
Did you consider anyone else?
No.
All right. So I guess that means I'm up with pick number 2. And as much as I don't want to do it, I guess the obvious pick is Aaron Judge. Boo, hum, hiss, I guess. Is there any argument against Aaron Judge? Like 1 or 2? Is there any reason to not take him?
I mean, is Soto going to steal 37 bases again next year?
True.
Witt had a good argument coming into this season. I think like you could have justified it a little bit, but I mean the two of them are Judge and Ohtani are just so far heads and shoulders above. I always have a little bit of injury concern with Judge. That
was going to be my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the one knock, but otherwise I just don't see how it can be anybody else at this point. It's too consistent.
Yeah, that was going to be one thing. There's always a little bit of injury concern there, and he's another year older. And I've talked a bunch, like he's just like a giant human being. And when you're a giant human being, you have bigger things, and bigger things can go wrong. And but he's also like he missed some time and also played kind of like the last couple of months of the season hurt and was still like incredible. Like even when he could like barely move in the outfield, he was still like hitting home runs. Batted 400 for a good part of the season and still finished at 331. Despite kind of like finishing a little banged up, 53 home runs, still stole 12 bases. And so it's kind of hard to pass up on that kind of like automatic power. And he's also someone that's just like, he's format proof. Like it's not like, if you're an OBP league or a points league, it's not like he's going to go out, like, make you worse because he does everything.
Right.
But yeah, it stinks. He stuck me with the Yankee right off the bat.
You gave me first pick.
That's true.
So
hoping you were to take Judge.
Yeah.
I think I talked before. I'm in a I only do it kind of like as a joke, but in like my one home league, I actually have a no Yankees rule. So like I will not sign or trade for or ever have Yankees on my roster. And it's been like that for like 12 years. But yeah.
It's
All right,
it's a good
you're
rule.
up with, yeah, it's a great rule. You're up with pick 3.
Also, am I allowed to be like, Judge is all of that, still not the AL MVP? Can I just throw that in there or not
Absolutely.
yet?
You
Okay.
can join the train.
All right, cool. Yeah, so with the third pick, I mean, I feel like you can get a little bit interesting on the third pick, depending, you can go Soto, you can go Witt. I'm going to go Soto at this point. My biggest fear there, honestly, is I said this, I think, in our Slack, where they're going to institute the automatic ball strike, challenge system or whatever. And Soto's going to walk like 400 times a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll just be over because his eye is just unbelievable. But it's hard to argue. He hit 43 homers. He crossed 100 runs, 100 RBIs, stole 37 bases. I mean, his average is down to 263, but the counting stats, it's just there. So I'm going to take him third.
Yeah, every now and then, like he has a weird kind of like batting average season, but like still a good season overall. So like, I remember a few years ago that like worried me. I was like, whoa, that was kind of a bad season out of nowhere. Like, what's going on? Like, what did he like? What it was 2022? He batted 242.
Right.
But he still hit 27 home runs, 6 stolen bases. And that's like, for most people, that's like a solid year. And that's like by far his like outlier, like awful season of like, so like that's my floor. It's pretty safe.
Yeah. And his expected batting average was 300. So, I mean, there's going to be some regression there. So I'm good.
Yeah. This season. Not, it was 300 this season.
Not
yeah.
I meant, no, God, not that year. But
yeah.
But
that year was 266.
Yep.
So still solid. And yeah, the stolen bases are a weird kind of wild card there because he stole almost as many bases this year as he did the rest of his career combined. So, who knows if that's a thing or like, I guess for him, he already got paid if he get, that money's guaranteed no matter what. It's not like he's going to slide into second base, miss 2 months, and not get $1 billion. He's still getting that billion no matter what.
Right.
All right. So I guess I'll put Juan Soto for you and on team 3. So I'm up at team 4. I should have named all of these teams, given all 12 teams actual names.
Yeah.
There's still time. Maybe I will after the fact. But what does that mean for me? So team 1 went first, got Ohtani. Team 2, Aaron Judge. Team 3, Juan Soto. So we got 3 hitters right off the bat. Is it too early for a pitcher? Do you where does Skubal go this year? Not to this isn't a real league. We don't, I'm not going to steal your picks. I'm not going to steal mine. But like strategy wise, how early does someone like Skubal go?
I mean, for me, the way that I would see it anyway, in terms of the best practice, I would say it would be after pick 8. So I can see it in the first round. There's some first round guys going, or even this year, that I was kind of like, it might be useful to have Skubal. You just are then stuck with what hitter could you have had for that, and then it's just, to me, it's interesting because with pitchers, it's always so. I always get really nervous because not only do you only have them every 5th day, but I'm like, any injury makes that pick just absolutely a complete and utter waste. Whereas if it's a hitter, it's like, well, yeah, there's usually other hitters you can kind of throw in there, but you do a high first round pick, it's like, geez, I can't lose him for any length of time. So yeah. So for me, it would be after pick 8, but I can still see him in the first round.
Yeah, this was the spot where I would consider him just because I feel like we talked about, these first few rounds are going to be a little weird. I think this season more than others, the first 3 rounds is going to be a lot different across the leagues that you look at. I think what we just showed, I think as of right now, as of this recording, that's probably the clear top 3. Heading into the next season, they're the 3 who finished in FantasyPros VBR 1, 2, 3 this season. So they finished as the 3 most valuable, have a long track record of being pretty incredible. So. There's an old saying in fantasy sports that you don't win your league in the first round, but you can lose it in the first round with the wrong pick. And so there's something to be said about being safe early and aggressive late.
Yeah, and I think that if you draft a pitcher, that's the risk you're running. I think you're just more likely to lose it, because even any decrease in performance from Skubal, and then again, you're just all of a sudden he's not even close to a first rounder. So I was trying to remember. I mean, at least in the time I've played fantasy baseball, which I would say has been at least 20-ish years at this point. Clayton Kershaw is the only one I think I've ever seen go really high in the first round in like that 2014 area. I think I saw him go 4 or 5 one time. So, but other than that, I've never really seen consistently a pitcher go that high.
Until this year, maybe we see Skubal go.
Are you taking him?
No, I'm gonna be a coward, and okay. I'm gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna go Bobby Witt.
Okay.
If as we kind of talked about, if this is his floor. If 2025 is his floor, 23 home runs, 38 stolen bases, it would still batting 295. If that's the floor, it's pretty good. It's kind of a deep position, so I don't love targeting it in the first round because there's so much value like later on, at least, theoretically. But, he's just like one of those, he's a 5 category producer. And one thing we kind of overlook sometimes, both as like fantasy managers and analysts, is batting average. And there's something to be said that a guy who just like hits 300 all the time and is going to like help you out there. And so sometimes with roster construction, maybe you can take a little bit of a chance later on a guy who's like high power, high speed, maybe not high average, because Bobby Witt is going to like be your rock there. So I'll go Bobby Witt, lock him in for team number 4, which means you're up with team number 5, District 5.
Yeah, so I mean, if I'm team 5 at this point, I agree with you. Like, I don't actually really like taking shortstops at this point in the first round, because I just feel like there's just too many of them in a way. And I am just, for me personally, I'm like, I will never have enough Jose Ramirez. I cannot believe he just continues to be so chronically undervalued in fantasy that it's like, it's just straight up weird. So I'm going to go with J-Ram at pick 5. I think he's a perfectly fine person to build an entire roster around. He gives you the 30 homers. He scored 100 runs. He stole 44 bases. And, again, back to batting average, he batted 282 this year. Like, what do you want more from him and from third base? I just don't, you and I talked about it the whole time in the last like 2 months. Like, third base is a wasteland. Why not get the best one and then kind of just sit back and fill in the rest of it? So. And
that's exactly what I was thinking when taking Witt and saying I don't really love taking shortstop this early. The exact flip side of that is Jose Ramirez at third base, where, as we talked about all season, third base wasn't great this season. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a lot better next season. Obviously a lot can change between now and then, but it doesn't seem like we have a ton changing there at this moment. And it could be, I don't want to say worse, but someone like Rafael Devers isn't going to have third base eligibility. So like you have one fewer third baseman available to you. Also, I officially changed Team 5 to District 5. So we have one of the 12 teams have a name now. So
perfect.
We'll see if by the end I can name all of them. And if you want to name any of them, feel free.
Okay.
I might just change Team 2 to Yankee Stink or something, but I don't want to anger the YouTube commenters too much with all of my. I mean, I'm a hater. Let's just, we can just put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm being a hater. So you don't have to say it in the comments. I know it. It's,
and he's proud of it. So don't even bother.
All right. So that means I'm up with Team 6. And I kind of want to go with, I struggle with one player. I really like Elly De La Cruz. And I had a bold prediction coming into the season that did not come through. It was very bold, so it was not like I had to like take a major L on it. But I looked back at the extremely bold prediction episode me and Worm did, and I had Elly De La Cruz. Was it between home runs and stolen bases combining for 100? Because he stole so many bases, and I was predicting an increase in power, and it didn't quite happen. But still. I mean, he fell well short of it because it was 22 home runs, 37 stolen bases, a far cry. And so the speed kind of really fell down significantly, which is interesting. You hope that 37 stolen bases is your new floor, but you want more than that. But now I wonder, is 6 too early for someone like that? Another name on the board, Julio Rodriguez. I can't do it. Like I can't do Julio Rodriguez because at the end of every year the stats look great, but I just can't take him stinking for a month. And like,
I mean, for a half, like, my question is always, and I'm sure that there are stats out there or someone can run them, but I want to know how many Julio Rodriguez teams make the playoffs. Like,
we could probably run that at FantasyPros.
Like,
we could probably
do you know what I mean?
up.
Like it's kind of by the time he turns it on. I mean, in our Insiders League that ends in June, like you're not making the playoffs. Like he's not. He's like the worst possible pick in that regard. So, but yeah. So no, he's tough he's tough to draft here too, I think.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Like maybe like a consistency score for fantasy because like you said, like in Roto or even in head to head. Like even if you go off in the second half and the stats look the same, it's not the same as like being good throughout the year. Like you can't just bury me for 3 months and then I'm trying to dig out. So I'll let you draft Julio Rodriguez. I will not draft him. But then where does that bring me? How about this one? Where do you think Cal Raleigh goes this year? Is he a first round pick?
He's not my first round. He's not. I don't think he's a first round pick, but. I also don't know if you want to argue with it too much. I don't, you and I talk about that a lot too, where it's like you don't want to draft at the height of like he's had his best season, right? This is probably it, but he's also, you want to talk about a premium position. I mean, the guy he stole 14 bases. Like that's just the lamest, weirdest little thing he just threw in. Like, oh, I'm going to give you 60 home runs and 14 stolen bases from a catching position. Like, I think you could make the argument, I just hate wasting high picks on catchers. So
yeah, and I made the exact opposite argument with William Contreras and saying a lot of people who drafted him were gonna regret it just because it was going too high. And like when you look at the math between the difference between like a really good catcher and like the 10th catcher versus like a really good like a Jose Ramirez and like the 10th third baseman, like the gap is much bigger.
Right.
Cal Raleigh breaks the formula, and so like 60 home runs is not something you can get from the. You can have 4 catchers and not get 60 home runs.
Right.
So I think he's going to sneak into the first round in a lot of drafts this year.
Okay.
Do I want to go with old reliable though? What about Ronald Acuna? I'm going to take Ronald Acuna Jr. here at number 6.
I'm sorry, you're calling him reliable?
Reliable when healthy.
Okay. I think that's a good pick. I don't have any. His is the health thing. If you're willing to ride the health, then yes, he is very reliable when he's healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I'm being a hypocrite because I said like, this is how you lose your draft in the first round, by taking a swing like this and it goes poorly. But it's also a full season from a healthy Ronald Acuna Jr. Can still be the best player in baseball and one of the most valuable players in fantasy. The problem is that we're talking about like multiple major knee injuries and how much is he going to run? But I feel like I saw enough from him in the second half before we kind of like throttled things down. That is going to be valuable. But, team 6, the risk takers. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is tricky for us to do as like, are we predicting where we think they'll go? Like, in which case, then I think Elliott will go 7. I don't see him falling much further. I think you can make the argument, like, if I'm going to pick, like, so my pick at this point of the, even my pick and prediction would be Corbin Carroll. I think, if especially in a 5, not in a 3 outfielder, but in a 5 outfielder league, his 30-30 season, his age, I mean, I'm good with putting him in there just at 7. But again, how long do we let the ones we know are going to go here? So one of us is going to have to be like, everything we just said about Julio Rodriguez, and he will absolutely not fall out of the first round. So just that's where we are.
So you're going with Ellie?
No. I'm going to go with Corbin.
Corbin Carroll. Sorry.
Yep.
I got lost in the train of thought there. I was too busy renaming Team 6 to Risky Business.
Okay.
I'm going to name Team 7 Seventh Heaven.
These are really original.
Yeah. Well, I also like. What's your favorite '90s sitcom? Because Seventh Heaven was an underrated one.
My favorite '90s sitcom.
Or like show like that, sitcom.
My favorite 90s sitcom is just Friends because I've just watched it so many times, I think. But Frasier grew on me as I got older, but I am not a Seinfeld person under any circumstances. So if that's where you're headed, you're going to lose me on every reference from here on out. So good luck.
I wasn't even considering that. Wait, so Frasier, do you like Cheers or were you just Frasier?
Oh no, I liked Cheers. I was so young when Cheers was out, but the reruns are great. That's a great show for I think anyone to check out.
I didn't watch Cheers when I was younger, but like a couple of years ago, I watched the entire series on Netflix, and it was pretty good.
Yep.
So that brings us to Team 8, the Ocho, which I'll name that team the Ocho. We're going very original here. Mm-hmm. So to recap real quick, Team 1, Shohei Ohtani. Team 2, Aaron Judge. Team 3, Juan Soto. Team 4, Bobby Witt Jr. District 5, Jose Ramirez. Risky Business, Ronald Acuna Jr. Seventh Heaven, Corbin Carroll. And the Ocho is going with the first pitcher off the board, Tarik Skubal. It's time. Mm-hmm. Lock in the ace. Earlier, I feel like last season, if you went pocket aces and got the right two aces, it worked out for you probably, as long as one of them wasn't Zach Wheeler. Although you got a very good long season out of Zach Wheeler, so as long as it's roto, you were probably okay. If you were head to head and lost in the playoffs, that was problematic. But roto, you're probably okay. Mm-hmm. So that brings you up at 9.
All right. So yeah, at 9, I'll take Elly.
Elly, okay.
Yeah. Just because I don't think he's gonna fall out of the top 10 in any draft. So, or the first round.
So we'll name that team Kelly's Ellys.
Perfect.
Team 10. What can I go with here? Team 10. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing Cal Raleigh. I'm going all in. Cal Raleigh. Lock in the catcher position. Even if I get 40 plus home runs, pretty good counting stats otherwise, I'll take it. I'll take my catcher. Cal Raleigh, fight me.
Right. Yeah, I'm just, you'll take your catcher, but really? In the first round? Okay. That's all right. Somebody will. He hit 60 home runs, so I can't see him going.
Hopefully he'll DH more, although he is a very good defensive catcher too.
Oh, he's such a good defensive catcher.
You don't get points for that. You don't get points for that.
Which also adds to why he's the MVP. Not that I'm going to keep bringing that up for any reason whatsoever. All right, so Team 11. Team 11 is going to go with Fernando Tatis Jr.
Okay.
Mostly for the
culture.
Yeah, mostly for the consistency. Like I feel like he is the consistent version of Julio Rodriguez. Like
I can see that.
You're going to get a little bit less, but you're going to get it through the whole year. And so I would take him before, but they're kind of the same player in my brain.
Also, some pretty major injury concerns, but he is also pretty far removed from them at this point. There were some major injury concerns a couple years ago, and
yep,
it seems like we're beyond them. That always is going to worry you, but
yep. He got 594 at bats this year, so I'll take him.
Yeah, his are mostly the extreme variety, kind of like Acuna. It's like he doesn't get banged up. It's like when he gets hurt, he gets very hurt.
He's out. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so I renamed Team 10 MVP. So Team 12, now I have to double dip here, which means for me, if I'm double dipping on the turn, it means one of these pitchers is Garrett Crochet, or one of these picks is Garrett Crochet. Okay. So I'm taking another pitcher, Garrett Crochet, and then the only question is, do I pocket aces, full blown, and go Paul Skenes? Mm-hmm. And just try to figure out the rest. Mm-hmm. Or do I pair it with a super bat? And you know what? We're here to have fun. Mm-hmm. We're here to get weird. And I'm going pocket aces. I'm going Paul Skenes. Okay. So Team 12 is just screwing up the draft board for everyone else. and taking Garrett Crochet and Paul Skenes at the turn, and I'm just going to win strikeouts and figure out the rest as I go.
Now, when you do that, does that, or when that happens to you, like in a draft, this is just a theory question, like, do you feel more pressure to get a pitcher quicker, or is it kind of like, okay, well, now I can wait a while?
As like one of the other teams?
Yeah, like when you see them go pocket at the turn, does that make you like, okay, I need to get one this round or next round, or is it like, okay, now I'm going to wait for that next tier entirely?
I'm normally of the opinion that I don't really care what anyone else is doing in a draft. I will pay attention to not the field, but like the players and the tiers, like you said. But one particular team doing something, like I don't care what you're doing. I just care about like, are these things going to make it back to me? And then like as we get into the draft, I'll start looking at the draft board and trying to like make, predict my picks. I'm like, okay, this guy's not taking a pitcher. So maybe I can wait for this guy because there's only 4 picks and 2 of them are going to be him and he's not getting a pitcher. So like he'll probably make it back to me. So that's really the only times I consider like what you're doing. But like someone doing that, like I don't care what you're doing. I'm worried about me.
I just meant now that the top 3 pitchers, the very clear top 3 pitchers are gone. So it's like, do you feel the need to pick one? I don't care who did it. Just like now that they're all off the board.
Yeah. I try not to let it bother me too much. I'm mostly like you mentioned, paying attention to the tiers. Like, I try not to like reach. I try to stay within my, comfort zone of like each pick and not reach just because, but like if it could adjust my strategy a little bit I'm like, all right, like I was expecting a pitcher here. I'm not going to reach for one, but I do like a late crop. So like now we're going to like do late pitcher strategy and kind of like adjust that way. So I try not to let it make me be like, all right, I got to get a pitcher now. I'm more of like, well, here we go. I'm still going to take my value, but it's just going to adjust what I do later.
Right. Gotcha. So I am up. So now we're on Team 11, who drafted Fernando Tatis Jr. in the first round. So that gives you an outfielder.
Yeah, while you're looking, I'll recap the first round.
Go for it.
Since some people are listening on audio, so they don't get the draft board. So Team 1, Shohei Ohtani. Team 2, Aaron Judge. Team 3. Now I've named a lot of the later teams. The early team names teams are still numbers, but we'll get there by the end. Team 1, Shohei Ohtani. Team 2, Aaron Judge. Team 3, Juan Soto. 4, Bobby Witt Jr. District 5, Jose Ramirez. Risky Business, Ronald Acuna Jr. 7th Heaven, 7th pick, Corbin Carroll. The Ocho, the 8th pick, Tarik Skubal. 9th is Kelly's Ellie's, took Elly De La Cruz. Team 10, MVP, Cal Raleigh. Team 11, Fernando Tatis Jr. And then Team 12, finished up the first round with Garrett Crochet and started the second round with Paul Skenes going pocket aces.
So in this case, if I'm Team 11, I was hoping that they did not go pocket aces and I would have taken whichever of those 2 pitchers that they didn't take. But because they did, then I'm going to kind of steer away from pitching. But I'm still looking at positional scarcity. So since I took an outfielder and there's a million outfielders, but that tier falls quickly, I'm going to still look and take probably what I feel is the other best third baseman and go with Junior Caminero here.
Junior Caminero. If we want to talk L's a little bit, Junior Caminero is probably an L for me. He's someone that I was worried coming into the season. We were drafting at his ceiling, and I was wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I stunk. That was an L by me.
Yeah, and I just ignored him. I didn't think I thought that he was going like in the 3rd round, and I was just like, I was in the same boat where I'm like, I just feel like that's too soon. And nope, it wasn't. So
here's an interesting one. And
are you gonna take another catcher?
No, but I'm kind of having an interesting, like, I like to have fun with these mock drafts, and like it's not unrealistic because sometimes, like, especially if I'm in like 10 leagues, I'll get weird with the league and like just play around with a strategy. And so I have Cal Raleigh, which means I'm gonna have a ton of power. What if I double dip and take Kyle Schwarber right here and just lock it in? And I'm just gonna do Kyle Schwarber. Who has an argument for NL MVP, if we're being honest. And so it really fits my brand of the MVP team. And now I just have a ton of power and run production out of the 10 spot. So I'm going Kyle Schwarber to pair with Cal Raleigh.
Would you have considered Nick Kurtz there?
I would. And that was actually the first name I looked at, and I was like, Nick Kurtz I could take here. And then I was like, actually, Kyle Schwarber's still on the board. Let me take Schwarber.
Right. Okay. Yes, Mr.
No.
I mean, he's just the most. I mean, he's a free agent. I guess I feel like he'll probably re-sign with Philly. I wouldn't mind if he came back and signed with the Cubs. But yeah, he's just so consistent that it's really hard to pass up on him. So
I actually traded him away in a keeper league. It's less painful because I won the league last year. This year I did not, but I traded him away because I also have Ohtani in that league, and I couldn't play both of them anymore because we used to have like double utilities, and we dropped down to one. And so he was just like on my bench. And I was like, I have to trade him. And I forget what I traded him for, but it was not great. It did not work out for me. It was like, I was trying to get a young pitcher and something else. And I got like Bryce Miller plus something. And it was like, disaster.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I understand. So Kelly's Ellie's. We have Elly. So I took a shortstop in the first round there. So this is where I'll go with Julio Rodriguez to take, because I just don't see him falling any further than this. And since I didn't take an outfielder in the first round, I will kind of get one in the second. And now, then just hope I have enough to get me to July when he gets hot.
Yeah. Now, do you think we're being too negative on Julio Rodriguez, and he's probably going to go in the first round of most drafts? Or do you think second round?
I think I would flip Raleigh and Julio. If we're predicting how it will go, I feel like Raleigh's going to fall to the second, and Julio would go like 10th or 11th. So yeah, but you know, us, I don't know if we're necessarily being negative as much as we're just being realistic. Like, you draft him, you have to have a plan that takes care of the first 2.5 months of the season. So
yeah. All right, so now we're coming back with me with the Ocho, who took the first pitcher, Tarik Skubal at the 8th spot. So now I'm coming back. I need some offense. If I'm team 8, I was probably hoping Kyle Schwarber made it to me. And so what I'll do now is I'll take Nick Kurtz, and I'll bank on the breakout. I'll bank on someone who looks as legit as you can and really early on and should probably just get better and has real power. And so first base is not like the deepest position. It's getting better, but you know, being able to lock in someone like Nick Kurtz, who looks really, really good, I'll take it.
Cool. I am going, so we took Corbin Carroll in 7th heaven, took Corbin Carroll in the first round, and I'm going to, like, there should be a consistency award for Francisco Lindor. It's just like, you can just lock a 30-30 in. So I'm going to take him there, and now I've really I've got two 30-30s on one team. So, and that's going to, when you have a 30-30, that increases your run production. They both bat for a pretty decent average, so I will take both of them.
For similar reasons, this is another player that might not get out of the first round. I actually just had to double check that we didn't actually already draft him, but kind of is it Jackson Chourio. Kind of an up and down season. No, you're out on him.
I'm so out on him.
Oh man, I think he's going to go in the first round. A lot of drafts, like late first round. But I'm getting him pretty late here, pairing him with Ronald Acuna. Don't know how much Acuna's going to run next year, but I think similar to what you did with Carroll and Lindor, I could have something similar with Acuna and Chourio with really high ceilings. Why are you out on Chourio?
Because
why are you wrong about Chourio?
I think we know exactly who he is. Okay. He's a 2020 guy, and his stat cast is ugly, and I just I don't want him that high. There are plenty of other outfielders later. So.
Yeah, I was just playing devil's advocate there. I'm also like not the biggest Jackson Chourio guy. I made a terrible comparison earlier in this preseason where I talked about other players who could have like similar production to him. You could take much later. I mentioned a certain Yankees prospect that I thought could do it, and that didn't work out. But I still hold true that the argument was sound, but the player was wrong.
Gotcha.
I just felt like he's probably going to go very early, and so getting him mid-second round, you have to do it.
Yep. No, I agree. I think that's where he'll go. It's just hard to separate me from that feeling about him. Are we good with Nick Kurtz being the first baseman off the board? That's
The first baseman?
that is interesting. Yeah, I don't think I saw that coming, but let's see. I am going. So now we're back to District 5. I took Jose Ramirez in the first round. But now we're sort of starting to get into what pitchers look interesting. I just am so not totally up on wanting a pitcher there. So I'm going to take Kyle Tucker, and he is very dependent on where he ends up free agent wise. But right now, hitter wise, again, I went third base in the first round. In a 5 outfielder league, I'm going to go outfielder in the second if somebody like Tucker is still there.
Yeah, he's someone you're just going to get a lot of variance of. Like, there's some weird health concerns there. Obviously, free agency can impact a lot. Like, if he goes to the Yankees, he's probably going in the first round. But yeah, it's he's fallen too far. You have to do it. For Team 4, since you already mentioned the first baseman, I'll go with the other one. I'll go with Pete Alonso. Again, impending free agent, just had a really good year in a contract year. Maybe he comes back to the Mets. It was a really weird last offseason, where it's like they didn't want him back, but he didn't really sign anyone anywhere else, and they were like, I guess you come on back. And so he did. Had a great year. But like, what if he goes to Fenway and we just get Pete Alonso in Boston, which would be great, for me and also for that lineup. And I don't know. I don't know if the Mets are going to let him leave, but I don't know. It's not like they're like, oh, let's have another great season. Like, they just missed the playoffs. So maybe they don't want to run it back, but they have more money than anyone. But this is for Team 4. And so I already have Bobby Witt Jr. and now I have the power of Pete Alonso. So I have a pretty good base.
Yes, you have built a nice start. All right. So now we get to decide who is pitcher 4. Are we going Cristopher Sanchez as pitcher 4?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Ranger
yeah, you would go with Ranger Suarez. I'm gonna do this. I think it may not be the best option. But I like it anyway. So Team 3 took Juan Soto, and I'm gonna go with my favorite win from last season. I'm gonna take Hunter Brown.
Hunter Brown, yeah, that's a good one.
So I think that he kind of established himself. He had a little bit of a waiver, I think, toward middle end, whatever. But now that he's just figured it out, and so I have no problem with him being the 4th off the board.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's someone you and I were both very high on. I think at one point I predicted like a Cy Young run for him, that he can make a run at it. Obviously that didn't work out, but I think he's right there in that conversation going forward. So that brings us back to Team 2, where I have Aaron Judge. So now I have to figure out what I want to do with my second pick. So I already have Aaron Judge. Where do I want to go next? Where do you think Gunnar Henderson goes this year?
Oh, that's probably around here.
Yeah.
I mean, his season it ended up okay, but that the injury just cost him so much at the front of it. So I think this might even be a little too late. I think he'd go sooner than this, but
all right, for the sake of accuracy, I'll take him.
Okay.
So now you're up at the turn. So Team 2 is Aaron Judge, Gunnar Henderson. You're up at Team 1 with Shohei Ohtani.
All right. So I have got Ohtani. I think I'm going to go with Cristopher Sanchez to get a pitcher that I think is good. And then I think I'm going to go James Wood for the upside.
James Wood? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild. Like, how did James Wood fall this far? But I guess you could kind of say that, this is kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Right.
You can make an argument for a lot of these players, like late first or not until now.
Right.
So I renamed that team name Decoy. Do you know why?
No.
Shohei Ohtani's dog's name is Decoy.
Yeah, I should have thought about that for longer than a second.
So there you go. But now I have to tell you about Hard Rock Bet. And today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. The Hard Rock Bet sponsorship app is top rated. Sponsorship sportsbook app is top rated. Probably because there's so many promos and so much to bet. And the promos is something I'm going to circle back to in a second. If you're doing some fantasy football research ahead of Sunday, don't forget to check out those players' odds to score on the Hard Rock Bet app. And if you want to ride a hot hand, look at the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. And you can also compare it with the Betting Pros prop bet cheat sheet and look at both of them. And if you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet yet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but $150 in extra bonus bets. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit. Not one of my best reads, but I will say that I've been doing a lot of research into sports betting over the last year and a half. And one of the things I found is to really pay attention to the promos and the bonuses. And that's one thing where I currently live, I cannot bet on Hard Rock Bet, but I am very close to Florida where you can. And so I do go to Florida from time to time, and I will be going there. And one thing I see from Hard Rock Bet all the time is really good promos. And so I get really jealous and a lot of FOMO when I see all of the promos, and I'm like, man, I'd love to bet on that, but I'm not in the area. But maybe I will go there soon so that I get. So not my best read, but also check out Hard Rock Bet because you should, because they have good bonuses and promos.
Yes. Exactly.
So don't do it because of me. Do it for you. And so now I'm up with Team 2, still without a name for Team 2, which is, I'm struggling with team names. I think I have 1, 2, 3, only 4 left. I have 4 more teams I have to name. So Team 2 had Aaron Judge and Gunnar Henderson. And so now where do I go? Do I go pitcher? I know you and I talked before the show. We talked about a certain other, we did our research for this. We looked at some other mock drafts and see where players are going. Trevor Story is already off the board by this point, and I got to tell you, not doing it. I'm not taking Trevor Story. No offense to the very good analyst who did take him in a different mock draft, which was made up of multiple analysts, but I don't trust him. I think you're in agreement. What do you think about Jazz Chisholm? Or I don't think I'm going to take him here, but how high do you take him?
I mean, again, not to keep saying 30-30 guy, but I think third round is good. He finished as VBR 34. So yeah, I think you could take him here if you needed a hitter.
All right, I'm not gonna take him, but I'm gonna go with my first pitcher, and there's 2 I really like in this area that are just kind of, I want to say 2 more left in this tier for me that I could talk myself into either one of them. I'm going to go with Yoshinobu Yamamoto right here, who I just think is really undervalued with how good he is. And I think he's only getting better. There were some health concerns coming into last year, but Yamamoto, I spelled it wrong. But I think we're beyond those. And he certainly looks pretty good, and he might be on his way to winning them a World Series. We'll see how it goes. But I think he's like a legit ace now, and there's no reason not to trust him. 2.38 ERA, over 200 strikeouts, and only 173 innings. I think there's more there. I think he could be even better.
I agree with you.
Sweet.
Yeah, that does not happen all that often.
So now we're on to Team 3, who had Juan Soto and Hunter Brown.
Okay. Juan Soto and Hunter Brown. I am going to take... Since I already took a pitcher, I don't usually take pitchers that close together this early. If we want to play this, like, this is probably what will happen. I feel like Pete Crow-Armstrong is going to go somewhere in this range. But yeah.
He's going to be one debated a lot.
Oh, it's going to go forever. I can already feel it. But I'm going to go with, and this might give you flashbacks, I'm going to go with Christian Yelich.
Wow. No chance for me.
No, I know there isn't because of what happened to you.
No
but
chance.
I like what he gave us this year.
There's just so much health concerns there. Like, he can just be like,
yeah.
I could see him retiring next year and be like, look, guys, like, I need a wheelchair now. My back is just gone. It's in 2 pieces now. I got to go.
Yes, but you called Ronald Acuna reliable earlier, so we're not going to listen to you too much here.
That's true. That's fair. But at least he has, like, major injuries and then comes back. Christian Yelich has, like, a chronic issue that is, that is already, like he hit 29 home runs this year, but it has, like, massively zapped his power, like, kind of overall, and, like, more significantly in different phases. So, yeah, better you than me. let me tell you.
Yep.
But, a woman scorned, and I was very scorned by Christian Yelich.
You were very scorned by him.
Can't do it. We won't talk about what happened to me. Can't do it. That brings me to Team 4, the still without a name Team 4. I named Team 3 to 3 true outcomes. So I have 3 left to name before we wrap up. I have 8 minutes. So Team 4 has Bobby Witt Jr. and Pete Alonso. And since that other pitcher that I was considering in that tier is still available and this team could use a pitcher, I'm going to go with Bryan Woo. Do you think he's in that tier?
I have a couple people I think I'd rather have, but I think he's in the right tier, yes.
I just think he's just getting better and better, and
yes,
there's not a lot to hate there. And
yes, I agree with that entirely. I mean, I think he's definitely climbing. I mean, BBR wise, he finished 5th. So
yeah, and he's going deep into games and just really consistent, which I enjoy. He's the opposite of of Julio Rodriguez on the same team. And we might see him going to the World Series if they can get their pitching together to do it.
Yep.
So now you're up with District 5 with Jose Ramirez and Kyle Tucker.
Cool. I'm going Freddy Peralta.
Okay.
I like what he gives you. He struck out over 200 batters again. He plays on a good team. 2.7 ERA and a 1.08 whip. I'll take it all day.
Okay. So District 5 finishes with Jose Ramirez, Kyle Tucker, Freddy Peralta. Now I am up with the 6th team, Risky Business, with Ronald Acuna Jr. and Jackson Chourio. And so, who do I want to go with? Are there any pitchers I can add to this team that I would feel comfortable taking? And you know what? I'm going to take one here. And my hope is by the time I'm doing, let's say this draft is happening in March or February. I'm hoping this pitcher's on a different team by then because the team he's on stinks and they're going to stink again next year. But I think he is criminally underrated for how good and consistent he's been recently. And maybe he's wearing a American League East uniform. And I'm going to go with Joe Ryan, who I think if he goes to a better team, you feel a lot better about taking him this early. If he's on the Twins, I might not do it. But I don't know. I just think Joe Ryan he's been really good, really consistent, and he's a good pairing for my Risky Business team here.
All right.
I guess not pairing because he's the 3rd, but semantics. You're up.
Semantics.
7th Heaven, best show of the 90s.
Oof. All right. So
not really.
Who am I putting with? Corbin Carroll and Francisco Lindor. There's always one team that just doesn't care about pitching, hardly at all. So I think I would roll with. I so want to go with Vinny Pasquantino, but I think this is too high for him. So I would. This is hard. I'll take Vladdy here.
Okay.
So I'm kind of keeping that average up, hopefully. I was so high on Vladdy coming into the season, so high on Vladdy, but mostly because it was a contract year, and then he went ahead and signed that contract in April, and I wanted to undo everything I'd said about him, and he did exactly what happens after they sign contracts. So, but he did bat 292, and
funny
he's
how
still
that happens, isn't it?
He's still in a decent lineup. So I don't mind him as a first baseman. Because first base, in my opinion, has sort of a severe drop off.
It does. I feel like we're getting more. We're getting more of them, but it's not as bad at third base. But it's not great.
No.
All right, now I'm up with the Ocho, who already have a pitcher. They have Tarik Skubal and Nick Kurtz. So I have speed. Not speed. I have pitching. I have power, and I'm not going to take another pitcher. So who is available as a hitter that I'm going to take here? Let's check the board. I've been really focusing on team names and not who's on the board. So when it comes up, I'm not prepared at all.
Right.
I have 3 left before we finish. So I've been really working on those while you're talking. That's why I thought you took Elly instead of Corbin Carroll before. So the player who finished 11th in VBR, I'm not taking him here because I'm not buying it. But Geraldo Perdomo, where do you think he goes in drafts? Does he go in the first 3 rounds? Because he finished 11th in VBR.
No, I don't. No. I just feel like in a general draft, I would see him in the 5th or 6th, maybe. I feel like there's a name recognition issue there that a lot of people are gonna either think it was a fluke or just ignore him entirely. So it won't be in the 3rd. I don't think he should go in the 3rd.
Yeah, I tweeted out his StatCast page earlier today because it's weird. It's like a lot of red, a lot of blue in the middle, a lot of red, dark red at the bottom.
Yep.
So that means I'm up with the Ocho, and I'm going to go with your boy, Pete Crow-Armstrong.
Yep.
Feels like the right spot for it. I already have my locked-in ace. I have Nick Kurtz. And if I'm building a roster like this, I like the 3rd round aggressive swing on a player like Pete Crow-Armstrong here. It could kind of blow up in your face, but if he does even so he cooled off towards the end, which we know, but we saw the ceiling, and the ceiling was a lot of fun. And so if you get that again, or if he does even better, you're getting a 1st round pick in the late 3rd to pair with the best pitcher in baseball and probably the best young hitter in baseball. So this could be a very exciting, albeit aggressive build for a team, for the Ocho.
Yes. And it appears they're going all left-handed. So that's good too. I think that's a solid way to approach it. All right, so this is the team. It has Elly and Julio, and I want a pitcher at this point, and I think I'm going to take Logan Webb, who I was down on last year. I just thought that there were some underlying stats that I didn't like, and then he turned around and led the majors in strikeouts because that's what he does. So,
of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and when I picked Joe Ryan, Logan Webb is another name I considered. So I'm in agreement there. So now I'm at the MVP team. Who's my next MVP that I can take? I have Cal Raleigh and Kyle Schwarber.
It's Eugenio Suarez, isn't it?
That would be perfect for this build. So let's see. Are there any pitchers? This episode's going longer than I expected or wanted to, but that's okay. We're here for the people. We're doing a mock. It'll be great.
We'll get it done.
It's good for you. What's good for you? So we can't do Zach Wheeler because of the devastating injury that he suffered. I'm kind of getting into that area where you should take a pitcher, but I'm probably not going to because I just don't feel comfortable about any of them in this tier. There's DeGrom, there's Carlos Rodon, Nick Pivetta. I just don't know. I already have Nick Pivetta at home. I don't need to take Nick Pivetta here. It's the kind of thing where you started getting into that this tier versus the next 2 tiers, and it's I'd rather just take another hitter and double dip or triple dip later on, unless there is one pitcher who should be taken right here, who I know won't make it back to me because Team 11 might take him. So I guess I'll take Max Fried. Okay.
Yeah, Max Fried would have been off the board. We could have ended this in the next 30 seconds. It's it's got to be
Well, I was
Fried.
going through it, and I was there aren't any pitchers that is in this tier, and I was actually, there is one.
Yeah, there's.
He's had a weird year, blisters and stuff. I still have some underlying health concerns with him because he at one point looked like he was maybe kind of headed toward Tommy John area, and then it was nah, he's good. I was you sure? But then he had a really good year, other than he had a blister situation, which seems like he's past it, and really looked really good in the playoffs. So, health permitting, you should get a really high floor in the 3rd round for my MVP team.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you entirely. All right, so I'm very torn on this guy. Because the consistency finally dropped off a little bit, but not far enough that I'm totally scared off by him. And the fact that we're at the end of the 3rd round, I'm going to take Freddie Freeman and let his 300 batting average hang out with that group. So that's
great.
Yeah,
you're not concerned about the health or the age there?
I am, but I also think that like I said, the consistency is like it's a little iffy, but he's still in that lineup. He's still batted 297. He still hit 20 home runs. Like, I'm like, I'll take it. So.
This worked out great.
Do you see how excited I am about it?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I will take him.
Ooh, oh boy. This worked out great for me because I had a team name ready to go if you didn't take a pitcher, and now I can use it. So I named that team Pitch Please. So,
perfect.
I only have one team left, and so I'm trying to figure that out. While also, we are now at the end where we get to the Pocket Aces team that took Garrett Crochet and Paul Skenes at the 1-2 turn. And they now have to figure out what they're going to do for offense. And so looking at the board, I'm not going to take Geraldo Perdomo. That would not be the smart move here to pair with my Pocket Aces.
Nope.
What do you think about this player who like kind of turned into a different player once he went to Seattle? What do you think about Josh Naylor? Are you buying it? And do you think he goes here?
Is he a free agent? Do we know? I can't remember.
I think he is, but it would be wild if he didn't go back there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Josh Naylor is he's another one that's just royally undervalued. And he has had 2 or 3 years in a row now where it's like, okay, like why aren't we paying closer attention to him? And I did look at him with the last pick too. I would rather he not be in Seattle just for the hitting purposes, but 20 home runs.
He is one of the guys that like
stolen
did great
bases.
thing. That's the thing, stolen bases. Yeah,
30 stolen bases from that guy. So yeah, no, I think he's as good as VBR says he is, which I believe has him as the top first baseman last season.
He's behind Pete Alonso.
Not according to the one I'm looking at.
I have him at 15. Pete Alonso 15. Josh Naylor 17.
Okay.
All right.
I'll send it to you.
Maybe we're using different filters. We'll fight about this. Should we pause the show and figure it out?
I know. I think we can fight about it. We can fight about it later. It's all right.
All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Josh Naylor. There is some risk there of like...
Yep.
He is a free agent. I would be very surprised if he didn't go back there because I think both sides are very happy with where he is. There is some concern there. Like obviously, like Seattle's not the best hitting environment, but also like if he's gonna hit for power and steal that many bases,
yep,
I'll take it. It's a little risky to pair him and his outlook with my Pocket Aces, but we're getting weird with Pocket Aces, so we're doing it.
Yeah, once you start that build, you just kind of come off weird, so you're gonna have to go.
And that means we have finished our draft. We have 12 teams drafted, and 11 of them are already named. We haven't named Team 2. But to recap very quickly, first team, Decoy, Shohei Ohtani, Cristopher Sanchez, James Wood. And while I'm doing this, you think about which team you think is the best and which one you think is the worst.
Okay.
Team 2, Aaron Judge, Gunnar Henderson, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 3 true outcomes, Juan Soto, Hunter Brown, Christian Yelich. Woo, 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 Kenny Woo. That's one I named while you were drafting. Mighty Ducks reference for you and Worm. Bobby Witt Jr., Pete Alonso, Bryan Woo. District 5, also Mighty Ducks reference. Jose Ramirez, Kyle Tucker, Freddy Peralta. Risky Business, Ronald Acuna, Jackson Chourio, Joe Ryan. Seventh Heaven, best show of the 90s, not really. Corbin Carroll, Francisco Lindor, Vladamir Guerrero Jr. The Ocho, Tarik Skubal, Nick Kurtz, Pete Crow-Armstrong, Kelly's Elly De La Cruz, Julio Rodriguez, Logan Webb. MVP, Cal Raleigh, Kyle Schwarber, Max Fried. Pitch Please, Fernando Tatis Jr., Junior Caminero, Freddie Freeman. Pocket Aces, Garrett Crochet, Paul Skenes, Josh Naylor. So, I also, I forgot to do something earlier in the show because I'm a terrible host. But hopefully this person is listening because I was supposed to give away the winner of the Billy Wagner signed baseball. And that winner is Nolan, I believe it's McCaig, MCCAIG, Nolan McCaig. Please get in touch with our customer support agents at mailbag@fantasypros.com, a.k.a. me at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address and a screenshot of your YouTube account page while logged in. And once we confirm, we'll get your prize shipped out. Again, congrats to Nolan McCaig. I should have done that earlier in the show, but I'm bad at this, and so I didn't do it. And so hopefully you watched the whole thing. You made it all the way to the end of this hour plus long mock draft show. And you're going to get your Billy Wagner signed baseball. And we'll probably, we'll try one more time. But if you do win it, you're going to get it mailed to you by me because I have it in my house right now. And so, Kelly, back to you. Now that we've gotten Nolan his Billy Wagner signed baseball. Nolan, also my son's name. And so, which team do you think is the best? Which one do you think is the worst?
Oh, which one is the best? Which is the worst? I was just going off which one I liked the best.
Yeah, that's what we're going with. Which one do you like the best? Same thing.
I mean, I secretly love the Raleigh Schwarber Fried team. Like, I love it. That I would be all over that. But I think I like my Jose Ramirez, Kyle Tucker, Freddy Peralta, just in terms of like, I feel like that's a pretty solid start that I can do a lot of different things with. And I absolutely do not like my Tatis Caminero Freeman team.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Not hard for me to say my least favorite. Juan Soto, Hunter Brown, Christian Yelich. That's an easy worst one for me.
Yep.
But, I also like the Raleigh Schwarber Fried one. I don't know that I like it the best. It's very fun. The Skubal Kurtz Pete Crow-Armstrong one. I don't know if that's like the best or the worst, but it's, there's a lot happening there. It could be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Probably my least favorite would be Acuna Jr, Joe Ryan. That's there's a lot of risk going on there. Hence the name, risky business.
Exactly.
Now before we get out of here, I have to name team 2 because we've named every team. I've been trying to name it. I also put the 3 player names into ChatGPT to see if not to give any AI any free advertising here, but try to give them. And I got to tell you, a lot of them are offensive, and I can't use them. So not like intentionally offensive, but I'm like, I can't do that. Just like mentioning the word like samurai, and I'm like, nope, we're not doing any of that.
My suggestion would be to leave it as team 2, which my home league it started off and there was a guy, we play on ESPN inexplicably. But the first guy who had the team was Team Paul, and he got out of the league, and I brought in my friend Nick, who has never changed the team name. So Nick's team has been Team Paul, and every year he changes his like photo to a different famous Paul. So like Paul Giamatti or whoever. So I feel like we should just name it like Team Smith or something and let it ride.
How about we name it Team Paul?
We can name it Team Paul.
I'm going with Team Paul.
They'd be thrilled to know I worked it in.
Now we're going with Team Paul. We finally named the last team. All Perfect. Right, so we went a little bit longer. So hopefully you stuck with us through the end, or we watched it at faster speed. We're supposed to keep it under an hour, but as we've already gone over, I'm not good at this. I'm just out here, as I tell my son all the time, I'm just doing my best. All right, I'm just doing my best. So before we get out of here, anything else you want to cover? We went a little long in the mock draft, but I think this was really fun, and I think it's gonna be a really interesting draft season because even like going through it, I'm like, I could have taken this guy here, I could have taken him a round ago, I could also pass on him, and so there's probably some players that we waited out to like the mid-late second round who they're going to be first round picks this year. It's just like we personally waited. But yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that so much changes, but definitely this year there's a lot of fantasy and there's a lot of volatility, and it's going to be just super fun to kind of argue, discuss, figure out where we're going to lock in, and let us know like which team did you like, which team did you hate. Just make sure it's Mayor's teams that you hate, and we'll go from there. Yeah,
tell me how much you love Pocket Aces, MVP, the team names. Would be great if you would, your best and worst team names, your favorite sitcoms or shows from the 90s. Also, does Seventh Heaven count as a sitcom? Let me know in the comments. I was trying to look up the definition of a sitcom, of like if that counts. The correct answer is probably Boy Meets World is probably the correct answer. Best sitcom in the 90s. Big TGIF kid back in the day. Really loved that like Friday night rundown. That was a great time for television. So Boy Meets World is probably the winner. Seventh Heaven was just one that stuck in my mind. One thing I had in the outline we didn't really get to is I want to talk about like biggest predictions and wins from before the season and like heading into the next season. We wanted to work those in. We worked in a few, but we didn't. But just to hit a few of them, we talked about Hunter Brown. We both liked him. Contreras brothers, you mentioned. We didn't talk about Roki Sasaki. We'll never know what you're going to say because we're not going to hit it now. So Roki Sasaki was going to be talked about and he wasn't, and now we'll never know.
And now he's going to be the closer for the World Series winner. So whatever.
Some of my wins were Jesus Luzardo, Trevor Story, and the Pocket Aces strategy, depending on which ones you took. A major L for both of us was Sandy Alcantara.
Missed it entirely. Yep.
Bad. That was a bad one.
Very, very bad.
You put it in, and I just said, girl, same one for me.
Yep.
We were both way off on that. Like Guerrero Jr. I also was very high on Clay Holmes coming into the season, and yeah, that didn't work out. I mean, like, he was fine. He was good. He had a good season. In our Super Bowl prediction episode, I was like, he might get Cy Young votes. But no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got pulled too early from games. It was fine. It was just not what I was hoping for.
Yep.
And then breakouts for next year. Maybe look out for Jack Caglione and Ben Rice.
Yep.
And
I just feel like Caglione. I feel like Caglione is not as bad as he came up being. So
I agree. I'm in agreement.
Yep.
You're not buying Noah Cameron for next year. I like Noah Cameron, so we'll have to discuss that in the offseason, find out why.
Yep. I don't like his StatCat page at all. So I don't know.
Some people just, their StatCast page is not to find them. Anything else? Do we keep going?
No.
Do another 3 rounds?
Sure, why not? I mean, people have lots of time for we could be a mini series, but
see if we can get Geraldo Perdomo in there.
Yeah, I just think stick around because we like baseball. We like to keep doing baseball even when everyone else has abandoned baseball. So
yeah, we got more coming up. There's going to be, I'm not sure when the cycle is going to pick back up, but I know Welsh and the crew, they're going to be picking up. We're going to have a pretty consistent offseason baseball schedule. So stick around, check it out, stay subscribed, comment, say nice things in the comments. If you really feel compelled, give us a review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Say nice things about Kelly. Talk about me being a hater, whatever you want. Just make sure it's a 5-star review or keep it to yourself. And with that, she's Kelly Kirby. I'm Mike Mayer. This has been The Cycle, and thank you for stopping by.